Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you for joining today's webinar that is hosted by Message Media. Our webinar today is titled Supercharge Your NetSuite E-commerce Interactions, Message Media, Text Messaging for NetSuite. Before we begin today's webinar, a few housekeeping items. If you have any challenges hearing the webinar or seeing the slides, we ask that you list your question in the question area of your GoToWebinar control panel. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, we will be answering any questions at the end of today's webinar, so please list your question again in the GoToWebinar control panel. Today's presenters are Doug Rubin, who is our president of US and the UK, and we also have Rich Hay, who is our senior account executive. With that being said, I will hand everything off to Doug and we'll continue today's webinar.
Thanks, Sherry. Appreciate that. Doug Rubin here. I'd like to just kick this off and first say thank you to everybody for attending today. I see there's a lot of attendees from across the US, and we're grateful for that you've taken a bit of time here today to spend with us here as we discuss Message Media and NetSuite. At first, I'd like to just speak at a really high level about what our customers have found and the value that we deliver. And what we've seen, what we've heard from our customers is that Message Media provides them with just a robust and powerful solutions that deliver immediate value. Along with that, what we're quite proud of is the fact that we impart deep knowledge and industry experience around use cases and how to leverage our technology to our customers, working shoulder to shoulder with them. And then the last thing is just the support that we provide, and we're going to dive into that as I speak to this slide here now. So today we're here to talk about our native integration to NetSuite. It's the only one that's out there. It's one of many integrations, and Rich will speak to that here in a moment. Our business itself, we've been in business for over 20 years. Okay, we are one of the top companies in this space with a vast amount of experience, and that's something that we love to deliver to our customers. We've been 10 years on the Suite Apps store, working with Oracle and NetSuite. That's something it's proven to deliver value, and I'm sure as you see this later on as we demonstrate this, you will see the deep functionality that this can provide to you. We've got global coverage. Basically, our offices, of course, here are in the United States as well as around the world in the UK and Australia and other places. We're trusted by over 70,000 customers. We take great pride. We've learned a lot from our customers, and we take that knowledge and we leverage that with our future customers, something that we want to provide to you. We're reliable. You can see the statistics up here, and we have over 200 employees. That's growing every day. In fact, very recently, earlier this week, it grew by 2 more acquisitions, and that's knowledge. In particular, I'll note for NetSuite, we have a dedicated NetSuite team. We have one of that team here on the call today. At the end, as we answer questions, we'll have them there available if you ask any really hard ones. 24/7, 365 follow the sun support, which is important if you have a question at any sort of odd hour of the day. And then finally, we're helping our customers send literally billions of messages every year. So the system and the solution, the relations with the carriers, all of this has been battle tested and it's proven, and that's what we can deliver to you. So with that, I'd like to turn this over to Rich Hay. He is our senior account executive for NetSuite, and he is an expert in this, and I'm very happy to introduce you, and over to you, Rich.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Doug. That was a great introduction. So I'll get into this. So I won't spend too much time on this slide, but to reference what Doug said previously, we really do pride ourselves on being able to integrate with your most critical platforms and really powering your mobile communications. So take a good look over this slide. If any of the logos here are familiar or of interest outside of today's demonstration with NetSuite, please reach out to us, as we'd love to know, and we'd love to discuss any ideas that you have. All right, so I'll largely let the statistics on screen speak for themselves here, but what we're seeing here is evidence that text messaging is able to demand the instant attention that other channels such as email and phone calls just cannot really compete with. So and email and phone calls absolutely have their place, but I know for myself, I check my personal email once every 2 to 3 days, and that's if I remember. And I'm also very skeptical of answering phone calls these days, especially when they come from unknown numbers. And that's simply not the case when I receive a text message. I'm at least glancing at that message within the first couple of minutes if I've got my phone nearby, and I open a text message 100% of the time. So if you want that instant customer engagement and you want to get timely responses to the messages that you're sending out to your customers, then you really should be thinking about trying out using SMS for your business. And these are just some additional statistics that come on the back of a study by Forbes. So what our customers have found in the US market over the last couple of years is a definite trend towards the adoption and acceptance of SMS or text messaging being used for business communications. And there are a few reasons for this that I'll touch on. The first is that it's just extremely easy to use and it's very user friendly. So you don't need to download an app. Every single mobile phone in the world comes with text messaging SMS functionality built in. And that means that everyone that has a mobile number is accessible and open to contact if they're opted in. So that leads into my second point. It really is protected heavily, especially in the US, by opt-in laws. Which means you really should only be receiving messages that are beneficial to you and that you've agreed to receive. To reference a previous comment, we're very skeptical of email and phone calls simply because of the number of spam emails and spam phone calls that we receive that aren't relevant to us. And with text messaging, you have the ability to just reply stop if it's something that you don't want to receive. So it's a very clean channel, and it should be kind of restricted to friends and family and businesses that you work with on a consistent basis. All right, so I know this is an e-commerce focused webinar, and I promise to get to the demonstration here in just a couple of minutes. But first, I wanted to tell a really quick story about one of our customers, Port Networks up in Baltimore. And they've started using SMS across the business to improve their customer communications and have had some pretty incredible results from what they've implemented. So there are three main areas that they're using SMS, and it's largely on the customer support side of the equation. So the first is for dealing with customer support cases. So an inbound case comes in and they're using SMS to communicate back and forth with their customers. And by using SMS, they were able to have a 50% drop in their support queue, and I believe 50% faster resolutions as well. So pretty incredible results there. Another thing that they've done is when there's an incident or any kind of degradation on their network, instead of waiting for customers to start ringing in, what they're now doing is sending out a proactive message to the customers that are impacted. And instead of complaints, they're now receiving thank yous from their customers, and it's ultimately saving reps between 2 hours of time following up with their customers after every incident. So absolutely incredible. And then finally, they're using the tool to reschedule appointments for their field staff. So often due to unforeseen circumstances, appointments need to be rescheduled. So getting through to someone over email or phone can actually be a real challenge if you're looking to change that appointment last minute. But by using text messaging to reschedule their appointments, they're receiving their instant responses. This has actually led to a 30% lower cost per visit for the field reps. So they're seeing more customers on a daily basis, and yeah, just some pretty great results for Port Network. So wanted to touch on that very quickly. All right, and then we are just about to jump into the demonstration. So this is largely the life cycle here that I'm going to show you today within NetSuite. So what we're trying to get at here is that every customer interaction is an opportunity to engage with your customers and to keep them engaged throughout this life cycle. So when a customer makes an order, you want to send them like an order confirmation. That's an opportunity to engage and provide value to your customer. Flowing on from that, when the item is shipped, you should be sending them a message. Let them know that the item is on the way, and if you have it available, send them a link to actually track the delivery of that message as well. And for a lot of companies, that's where the buck kind of stops. But what we've seen, and our customers are getting great results from this, is wait a couple of days, ask for the feedback from the customer. How was their experience with you? Is there anything that could be improved? If you get good feedback, you should be utilizing that good feedback to get ratings and reviews on your websites. And on the other side of the token, if you get bad feedback, you need to be using that as a way to improve. You need to be getting in touch with that customer and making it right. And then in the future, they could interact with your brand again. That kind of comes full circle. Marketing and promotional messages should lead to kind of more repurchasing from your website and take them full circle. But without further ado, I'm going to jump into the demonstration here now. All right. So let me position this. All right, so what we have here is a customer record within NetSuite. So as you'll see, the SMS and Conversational UI button have appeared on the customer record here. So the SMS section here, this is available on almost every kind of record within NetSuite, and we definitely have the ability to customize based on your requirements. So I've pulled up the interface here. What you can do is you can select a number to send to. So I've selected the number here that corresponds with the phone over on the right. This is a great way to send kind of one-to-one, often templated messages through to the customer. So to pull up a couple of examples here, might be a sales rep following up on a quote that they've sent through. So this is a really personal way to get through to your customer. And to reference the Port Networks example previously, you might be letting the customer know that the tech is running a little late and wants to reschedule that appointment, and looking to use SMS to do exactly that. But for the purposes of this demo, I'm just going to show you this confirm details one. You can see if I preview this here, that it's actually pulling in the merge fields. What we can do in this configuration section, often the header is just identifying the business. So it's always best practice, especially for business communications, to let people know just in the start of the message who is actually communicating with them. And a footer is often just an opt-out message. So as I mentioned earlier, you only want to be communicating via SMS with people that actually want to be communicated with. So making it easy for people to opt out if that's not a channel that they'd prefer to be contacted on is always important. So you can just put that in there as a footer and save that as a default if you like. Once again, scheduling an SMS is an option. So if you've got hardworking reps, it's often not best to send a message out to your customers at 10 p.m. at night. But you may want to schedule that out to kind of go out the next day at a more reasonable time. So you can do that from here as well. But what we'll do here is we're going to send this out. And it's going to come through to the phone here momentarily. So As you can see here, it's pulled all of the merge fields from the customer record here. So what I'm going to show you next is the Conversational UI section, which is one of the more, I guess, premium features that we've got within the Message Media bundle. So this is great for real-time two-way conversations with customers. So if I come in here and respond to this message, so confirm that those details are in fact correct, then we're going to see that appear in the interface here in just a moment. So this is a really powerful tool, both for sales reps to use with their customers. Customer support is a huge one. So we've had kind of feedback from our customers that support reps are able to open 6 to 8 of these windows at the same time and communicate with their customers. So quite a powerful tool, and as you can see, it's instantaneous. The benefit of this is that everything is actually logged in NetSuite against that record. So if we come down here to messages, you'll see that all of the outbound messages here are logged as Message Media SMS, and all of the replies coming back in are marked as a reply SMS. So in this day and age, it's critically important to just have a track record of all the communications that you're having with your customers, and that's one of the real benefits of using an integrated service rather than just a standalone website for a solution like this. So what I'll jump into next is just a couple of examples of automations. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a sales order. Typically, this will be integrated with the website. So as soon as an order comes in on the website, it's going to save that sales order in the system. But I'm just going to come in here. I've selected a free ride bike here, and we're going to save this record. And what that's going to do as soon as that record saves is that's going to send an automated message through to the customer that actually made that purchase. So you can see that popping up here. Just go in here so we can see that full message. So thank you for shopping with us. Here are the details of your order. So it's pulling in the item code, a bit of a description about that item, and just letting the customer know that we're going to send through a link to actually track that as soon as it's been shipped. So really powerful. What we're going to do here is we're actually going to fulfill it. So we're going to ship this item. We're going to pretend we're in the warehouse. So let me just select a location down here. So we can set up different automations based on how the customer is actually going to be picking up that item. So I know in the age of COVID, there's a lot of click and collect. So there's different setups here that you can pick. So it might be, hey, like your item is ready to be picked up at the store, or it might be that it's been shipped. But essentially we can set up workflow automations to send out different messages based on what the customer preference is for that order. So let's just save this one here. And you'll see just another message has come in here. Your order is now shipped, and just a reminder that you can track the order at the following link. So that's the Message Media URL shortener here as well in play. All right, so that's an example of automations. This next section I'm going to show you is an example of the batch messaging functionality. So for those familiar with NetSuite, often you'll be working with saved searches on a pretty consistent basis. So what I've done here is I've pulled in a saved search, which is just the contacts at that customer record that I had previously. What you can do here is you can select all, and you can command and click if you don't want certain individuals to actually receive that contact. So this is where the previous examples I showed you were kind of one-to-one messaging. This is really powerful for batch messaging. So the example that comes to mind immediately is a kind of marketing message. So you can pull a targeted saved search that's based on previous customer behavior. There might be a certain product line, for example, and you can pull that in and provide a marketing campaign through to them. So really powerful. Once again, you can schedule these to go out at a specific point in time. But I'll run through a few examples here of how the batch tool can actually be used. So we've got that marketing piece. We've also got an example of you set up a saved search that's actually going to pull in customers when it's on their birthday. That's another really cool way to set up promotional campaigns and very personalized as well. But to stay on the e-commerce side of things, reviews is a huge one. So as I mentioned earlier, you really want to utilize feedback that you get from your customers, whether it's positive or negative. So if you set up a saved search to pull in recent orders, what you can do here is we can automate this entire process to get feedback from customers. So in the configuration section, we can set this up to go on a reoccurring basis. And let's just start this from tomorrow, and we'll send, say, at 10 in the morning, let people get their coffee and settle in. And we actually want to send this on a daily basis. We want this to be active. So what this is going to do is every day at 10 a.m., it's going to rerun the save search. So we've actually set this save search up to pull in everyone who's recently purchased from us. So it will rerun the save search and only pick up recipients that exists on at that point in time based on the criteria you've set, which allows you to automate this entire process. So really cool tool, and then you'll just get reviews coming back into the platform. And what we've seen customers do is actually automate a response. So if you get kind of a 5, you could say, hey, thank you so much for your positive feedback. We really appreciate it. If you don't mind, or if you can spare a couple of minutes, we'd love it if you could leave a review on our website or a rating for the product you purchased on our website. Yeah, and if you get a 1 back, you want to say, look, we're really sorry you've had a bad experience with us. One of our customer support reps is actually going to reach out to you and find out what happened here, and hopefully we can put this right in the future. So that's essentially the integration in a nutshell. There are some other applications for this. Overdue invoices is a huge one, not necessarily as common within the e-commerce space, but for any businesses that have, their customers have accounts with them, you might want to run a save search that pulls in results for people who have a bit of money owing on a monthly basis, and just send them just a friendly reminder that they have to clear that with you. So what I'll do now is I'll head back over to the presentation, and we'll get to some questions here in a minute. Just drag this off screen again. And often with NetSuite customers, we get questions about the implementation process. So thankfully, it's actually very quick and easy to set up a lot of the time. Obviously, it depends on the complexity, but typically when you sign up with Message Media, the process looks like this. So we will send you through a quick start guide, which allows you to get set up and running and install the bundle in NetSuite. And then we'll set up a kickoff call with our customer success manager, and he's going to walk through all of that with you, make sure all of the configuration is correct, make sure that you can send messages, and essentially gather requirements as well for the kind of technical check-in that we have with our NetSuite support engineer for most customers. And that call is generally used for setting up any kind of simple workflows that you wanted. So a lot of the functionality that I showed you today around, order confirmations and fulfillment or shipping notifications, that's actually built into the integration, and it comes with it. So we can help map the fields, make sure that can work within your NetSuite setup, as we all know that no two NetSuite instances are exactly the same. So it's a very involved process, but if what you're looking to do isn't too complicated, we can typically have customers up and running in a couple of weeks. So it's really something that can make a big impact quite quickly. And that's essentially we're coming to the end here. Here are some helpful resources on where to start. So we've got a landing page on the Message Media website, so just messagemedia.com/NetSuite. We've also got a NetSuite ebook that you can get to from that very landing page. And you can find us obviously on the NetSuite Suite App Store. So I encourage you to go and check out the listing. And yeah, otherwise, please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or you just wanted to explore the potential of using this. I'd love to hear from you. So if you send me a message, this is my personal number down here. Just let me know and I'll reach out and we can set something up. And now we will go to questions. So Sherry, I believe you'll hop back on now and hopefully we can address any questions that people have.
Thank you, Rich. That was quite an insightful presentation, so thank you. As we mentioned earlier in the webinar, if you should have any questions, we ask that you list them in the question area within your GoToWebinar control panel. We do have one question. It is, what options are available for sending recurring messages?
Yeah,
Rich,
absolutely. Yeah, that's a great question. So there's a couple of ways to do this. One would be with a workflow automation, and another would be through the batch section that I just showed you there. So the ability to set up a reoccurring message at a predefined interval. But if you had any ideas around how to do this or how you'd like to do it, please reach out to us. We'd love to discuss with you. As we mentioned earlier, no two kind of NetSuite instances are exactly the same, so we'd love to discuss that.
Great. We have another question. Where would we set up automated responses?
Yeah, absolutely. So once again, you can do this within NetSuite using workflows. So based on kind of what's sent in, you can send a message back. But often it's actually good to use the Message Media website as an accessory. And we've got an interface on that website that allows you to kind of set up automated messages based on what's been sent in. So if someone sends back a 5, which is good feedback, you could have that message configured within the site to send something back. So there's a couple of ways to do it. The website is often the easiest way to do it, but it also can be done with workflows inside NetSuite.
Great. Who has access to send messages?
Yeah, that's a great question. So essentially, whoever you want to have access to send messages. As with a lot of things, you may not want everyone in the business to have the ability to communicate with your customers via this channel. So you can set this up with permissions based on roles within NetSuite, which is very easy to do.
Okay. What new features are being added in the future for e-commerce?
Yeah, great question. And the one I'm actually most excited about, which is actually very recently been released, is MMS or picture messaging. So at the moment, that's actually in the conversational UI section, so the ability to send a message one-to-one. But in the future, we're going to be implementing that into the batch section of the integration, which is going to be huge as far as marketing is concerned. So I'm personally extremely excited about that launching.
Okay. Are there any other questions at this time? We are at the top of the hour, and we thank you again, Rich, you and Doug, for your time today. We would like to let you all know that we will be sending out a survey to you. We ask if you can fill out the survey within the next 24 hours. It will help us position our webinars better and actually address the topics that you would like to see moving forward. We will also be sending out a calendar of webinars for the next several months, so please stay tuned for that schedule. So on behalf of Message Media, we do thank you for your time this afternoon, and please do not hesitate to reach out to us in the future if you have any questions. Thank you again.